they know.
Yeah, true.
Like those guys are using protein powder.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they're it's not like they're saying they're using it and they're not. I'm sure they're drinking it. And anyone with half of a brain knows that.
Definitely.
It's not the protein powder and the creatine.
It's not. Yeah. Something. What is it? The GLP or something?
GLP-1?
Is that what it is? The
Ozempic stuff?
No, I'm thinking about the peptide. It's like some sort of peptide.
Oh, BPC. There's a bunch. The one that just came out was BPC 157, but I do not know if that is accurate or not. I know that there's like a whole bunch of them that.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that stuff. Is the red light on?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel it's like it's all a science experiment though.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy yesterday about TRT because I've been on it for maybe year and a half now.
Really, that long?
Yeah, and he told me this place it's like way cheaper in town. He's like, it's legit. I'm like, I might need to switch over. I don't know.
So my question with that, like, what is there like because I've wondered this with other people that I know, and they're even younger than you that like kind of start down that path. Like, what's the long-term plan with that stuff?
It's just forever, man. You know.
But that's what I mean. Like, so you're just like 80, and you're like, I've decided I no longer need this, and I'm just gonna stop.
Maybe. Like, I don't know. You know. I think that I'd rather live 5 great years than 10 long, lethargic, like I have to nap 3 times, and that's one of those things.
Peter Attia talks about that, lifespan and health span, like your marginal decade. That's what he calls it. Like you won't know when it's going to start, but you'll know when you're in it.
Yeah.
It's like those last 10 years where things start to just steadily decline and you don't like pull back out of it. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big premise of his stuff is like,
who says that?
Peter Attia, Dr. Peter Attia.
I like Attia,
is like, how do we like, I don't say maximize, but like make that marginal decade as good as possible. Like you're still as functional as possible. Mm-hmm. Like the deterioration isn't like off a cliff. Like it's this, slow, steady thing. It's going to happen. Like when you go from 80 to 90 potentially, but then it's also like prolong that. Like when do you get into your marginal decade? Like it's crazy to look at like people are like 50 and you're like, dude, I feel like you're in it.
I know. Yeah.
You're so bad off.
It's crazy. But I think that if I got off TRT tomorrow, I think I'd still be fine. You know what I mean? Like I think that I don't know. I haven't seen like that much of improvement in my life.
Right.
But I think right now it's just kind of like a habit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little placebo, maybe a little, but it's not what the commercials are like, oh, you're going to feel like you're 15 again. Like I don't feel like I'm 15 again. I'm already ready for bed,
Yeah.
So
fair. That's fair. So are we going to leave this in? We're just going to roll with it, kind of like a Rogan style. Like when people are like, oh, are we filming? Like, oh, we have been for 10 minutes. So podcast number 2. This is a big deal.
Congratulations.
Yeah, look at us going at it again.
We basically went viral last time.
Our equivalent
broke
viral.
The internet.
I feel like it's like a milestone. Like everybody goes through. Someone was picking on me like a week or so ago that like all dudes, like middle-aged dudes now, go through like a podcast phase. They like listen to them incessantly, and then they try to start their own. Yeah. And so I feel like milestone 1 is like you get to the second one.
Yeah. No, for sure. And you know what? After we did that, like I was already itching to do the next one. I was like, man, like I want to go back tomorrow and do another one. It was a lot of fun. It was fun editing it. It was fun, listening to what you had to say again. And for anyone who hasn't listened, I would suggest them to go back and listen to your story, because it blew me away. Like I just didn't think that was how your life went. You seem like you have it all together, Dave.
Oh my gosh!
And I didn't realize that for most of your life was chaos. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. Like, yes and no. I mean, I think it's a common thing. Like you look at someone and you think, I look at people all the time and you're like, oh, they got it all together and this is that and whatever. And then it's like, no. More money, more problems, more whatever, more problems. Like,
true. Well, you have a good way of like cycling it all through, and you have a good, you know what I mean? I don't know if you wouldn't think as someone who went from such far back can like actually get through life and like tell themselves, hey, it's going to be all right, and just keep going and keep progressing. And it's rare, and it's inspiring. So,
well, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's funny. That will segue, kind of into some stuff I wanted to talk about, because I want it to be like super professional like you were. You had like the notes, the whole like Lex Friedman kind of intro. So
you don't need to do the intro.
No, it won't be exactly the same, but same like concept, because I think like providing, like some information. I mean, this is something like I don't even think we talked about it last time, was like we've thought about this, talked about it, kicked the idea around for a little while, and it was finally like, well, let's just do this. Like, let's just sit down, hit record, and whatever happens. And I was thankful that it went as well as it did, and I'm thankful that you like the side of stuff that you do. Like I clearly like talking. And you're like, I like the editing. I'm like, thank goodness, because that is not something that I gravitate towards.
Yeah.
But so like we didn't even really like, we just started rolling, which I thought was good, but we didn't even like intro, right? So like this is a podcast, the Ben and Dave and Ben, like Ben and Jerry's type deal. But so what is the name of our little podcast here we're rolling with?
We went back and forth with a few different names, and there's kind of like a mantra that I've been living by since doing CrossFit, meeting you and meeting everyone. And it's just kind of like save none, it's fast, it's 8 letters, and it's just basically give all you can for the things you're passionate about. And to me, when I'm on a tough bike workout, or if I'm, really tired in editing, I'm just like, hey, Ben, save none, let's get through it. Let's do it. And so I think that's kind of what we're going to kind of like encapsulate in this whole podcast, is like interviewing people that save nothing and give everything they have for the things they believe in, And I think those 2 4-letter words kind of spoke to you as well, hopefully. Yeah. And eventually, I see us throwing it on shirts and, maybe getting it out there and just kind of, and promoting the idea of giving it your all. Not necessarily trying to make money off merch or anything like that, but we just want to see the world a better place.
No, for sure. I mean, it resonated with me. I mean, we touched on and talked about a lot of that stuff last time. And I've thought about it a lot. Obviously, we knew we were doing this today. I was trying to like take some notes and have some questions and stuff, and like what that phrase or that term, whatever you want to look at it, kind of means to me. And it's like, it just spirals all these other things that come into my head. And I feel like, we live in this interesting time where like, we're of a... we're in our 40s right now, an older generation, I guess, by definition, to most of the kids. And there's this perception of like, the youth today, they're brought up a little bit different, for better or worse. And it's not to disparage, any group of people, but like we grew up in a harder time. Like we drank out of hoses and rode our bikes everywhere and didn't have cell phones and all this stuff. Like life was just harder, just like the generation before us would say the same, like it's steadily kind of, gotten easier, so to speak, which it's just gotten challenging in different ways, right? The challenges that youth face and, 20s-year-old, whatever, they're just different. But like there is a perception of things just being a little bit easier. And so people maybe not giving their best or trying their hardest because there's like easier ways around stuff, like just everything, like jobs are not as physical in nature anymore. Like there's, these social media and all this entertainment in the world. So like you just don't have to live in your crap like you used to. There's distractions, all this stuff. But so it started making me think that about like, we're of that, like give something everything you have, like especially if it's important to you. And then, sorry, and I'll kind of wrap up here in a second, but the other side of that is just how we do everything in this world, political and whatever, is like there's the give everything, like don't sleep, don't drink water, don't eat, like if you're not working 25 hours a day, you're useless. And like I think the truth is obviously, as usual, somewhere in the middle. And I feel like this kind of means that to me of like, it doesn't mean like neglect your family to accomplish things. It just means like don't give up easy. Don't like try 3 times and fail and fail and give up because like the 4th time might have been it. Like
for sure, man. For it. It comes from a place of gratitude too. It's like save none because you don't have to. You get to. I remember asking you last week about your pain cave and. My pain cave. I was thinking about that. It's a place of gratitude, man. Like I envision myself if I'm on a bike, I'm in a race and I see my son screaming for me, like, go dad. You know what I mean? And it makes me save nothing, because I just want to get through it. And that's kind of like life and purpose and ventures and everything. It's like whatever you do, man, just, be thankful and just get through it. So
this universe is so crazy to me. Like that was literally more or less the message in church this morning.
Oh, really?
Like it was talking about wealth and why people have it. and that like you don't take anything that we have here on earth with us. The only thing you see in heaven are the people that you've met that have found Jesus, kind of thing. And like the reason that you might have more is to give to others. And so it's not just like stockpiling and hoarding. It's like giving. And I think that fits like financially and material things, but also of yourself. Like, you know, you build all this resilience, knowledge, physical capability. It's like, well, go use it. Use it for your own sake, for the sake of others. Like if you have, whether you believe it was a gift or it was just hard work, nature, nurture, whatever, but like, don't just hang on to it and let it rot, because it all just, you're not taking any of it with you. So that's just crazy that like literally like 5 or 6 words you said, I'm like, that was like literally what they just said.
Oh, you're so right, man. And I was listening to, you know, we talk about podcasts all the time, and Jocko, man, he had someone on, and I was going through a really hard time in my life, and the dude just said, you know, the one thing that got him through his PTSD is someone looked at him and said, you matter, you have purpose. And like, I just started bawling my eyes out, man, you know, and it kind of goes along that line, dude. It's like, we all have a purpose, you know, and it may not be what we want to do, but we get to do it, you know, and it helps the world better, you know, be better. And that's just what I think we both want out of Save None podcast, Save None apparel, you know, whatever it becomes. Yeah. And you know, that also just defines us starting it, knowing nothing about podcasting or any, you know what I mean?
We've listened to a bunch. We're experts.
It's like, let's save nothing when it comes to that. Yeah. So let's just do it.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. That, again, that was kind of the message, is like, you have gifts. Like if you're naturally gifted at this thing, like the goal isn't to do it to a point where you don't have to do it anymore. It's like you're doing it to further your life. But then honestly, it almost becomes more a point about giving it to others. Like not that I know everything about fitness and nutrition or anything, but I know enough that I could sustain who I am, what I'm doing, like totally fine for the rest of my life. But it's not really about that anymore. It's like, now I need to use that to give that knowledge, experience, and, you know, I hesitate to say expertise, but like, when you've done something for 20 years or whatever, you're giving it to other people. You're imparting that on somebody else. So yeah, I think that all kind of like wraps up. It's awesome. I can't wait till you get the shirts. Those will be sweet.
For sure.
And that actually is like a really good segue as well into the beautiful world of Ben Miller, because like when I talk about like gifts and like abilities, like I'm like a one-trick pony. Like,
whatever,
dude, I work out and I could teach you how to do workouts, but like I have this laundry list of things that,
if I could make people laugh like you do, man, I would trade everything I have. And
inappropriate, self-deprecating humor. Amazing. That's like
it's the best.
That's how I make. I'm mocking myself, or the inappropriately mocking the time that we're in. So I don't.
That's what a mentor does, though. You know, you mentor all of us, and we go out and do good things into the world. You know what I mean?
I hope that's what's taken of it, not just like he's kind of an inappropriate donkey. But so if I were to describe, and I do this jokingly just to kind of embarrass you, but I'm like, Ben is what? He's tall, dark, and handsome, right? Covered in tattoos, obviously, but that's way further down the list, because we're definitely going to talk about that. But there's a lot more. There's a lot more to Ben. I've gotten to know you a bit over the last couple years, and like I know like certain things, but not details. But there are things, probably one that I don't think people know, and I know that there's a lot more there. And you touched on one of them just in, you know, kind of the intro part about your son. Like, you're a dad. You have a son.
Yep.
He is how old?
He's going to be 13 next week. Yeah, he's like almost 6 feet tall. He's into arts. Super creative kid. Very good artist, should I say? And into, you know, making videos and stuff like that.
What's his name?
Oliver. Yep. He's an amazing kid, man. He's the light of my life. You know, we get to walk home from school every day. You know, he keeps to himself a lot. Like, he's just tenderhearted, just so sweet, and just does everything for everyone. And just, I don't know, I couldn't be luckier. Man. You know, I have two, I will call them my stepkids now. You know, they're two toddlers, 3 and 5. They're little maniacs, but I love them too, you know. And it's such a fun household, because you go upstairs and it's clarity. That's Oliver's little space in my office. And then you go upstairs and it's insane. And
chaos.
It's a jungle. Yeah, it's chaos.
Yeah.
But I love it, you know, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I've met Oliver a couple times. He seems like a good kid.
You saw him at Kroger's and you were like,
quiet.
dude, your kid's a giant now.
Yeah, I recognized him. I'm like, that. There he is. I didn't want to I didn't know if he'd remember me, so I didn't want to freak him out. I had the, as always, that's all I wear is CrossFit Knoxville shirt. So he would have maybe put that together. But, so that was, one of my questions is, so as being a dad, what is the most rewarding thing that you get from being a dad, raising a son? Especially in what I call these, more chaotic times, right? Again, it was just easier when you just go ride your bike and drink from the hose. But
man, I don't know. You can't even pinpoint a reward, I think that my life was on a downward spiral before his mother told me she was pregnant. And it wasn't planned or anything. We hadn't known each other that long. But we both agreed that we didn't want to get rid of it and we wanted to keep it. And we'll see where it goes. And, luckily now I have a great relationship with her as well. But he has just changed my life, man. I never would have done the things I've done. I was just drinking all the time. I was cutting hair. I was just playing music. And, I don't know. I feel like I was still a decent person, but I wasn't doing anything with my life,
Just gave you more direction.
Yeah. It gave
more
me so much
purpose.
More of a purpose. Yep. Way more of a purpose. And, that's...
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason,
even if we
sure.
feel unprepared, little different situation for me. Carrie and I were planning, trying the goal, but you're still not dude, it's not real.
No.
Until even you leave the hospital.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, we got to keep, this is it now. We got a human that we're, so, everything happens for a reason. So I think that's awesome. I can see in your face and before I asked that, I could just see that's a conversation we've never had. I mean, obviously I assume you feel that way, just knowing you as a person, that I would assume that's how you'd feel about your son, but having you verbalize it,
dude, it's special. And as you know, I mean, I grew up the same way. I spent a lot of time alone and I don't trust people very often. It takes a lot to really be best, you know what I mean? To me, to feel like I'm best friends with someone. And I had a brother passed away and it's I haven't had anyone that close that I could trust and rely on. And so when you have a child, it's just man, they're everything, what I mean? My best friend and just all of it,
That's awesome. What would you say is the biggest challenge of now? And I mean, it can be at any time along the journey, but maybe biggest challenge of raising a teenager or just the thing that challenges you most to kind of handle or navigate?
I think just, discipline, man, I mean, and it's not that he needs to be disciplined. He's an amazing child, but it's staying on, when your kid is so sweet and just obedient and loyal, and it's hard to be hey, take your dishes to the thing, clean up your room. It's hard to just stay on him because half of me is just man, he's great in other ways, but you still have to carve out the rock, and you have to
absolutely.
Iron sharpens iron, and or going to mow the lawn. It's almost to that age, and for some reason I'm nervous. I'm I don't want to make him go out there and sweat his little ass off,
trust me, it is the encapsulates my life as a parent because I'm blessed with I have good kids. They're not troublemakers. They're not. I mean, I have 2 teenage girls, so that's. They are teenage girls, but good students, they're athletes, but at the same time, there's granola bar wrappers on your bedroom floor and you haven't put your laundry anywhere other than a pile in the corner. And
it's hard.
I struggle with that same thing of where's the push to make you a full, well-rounded, responsible human being? Because I'm well, you're a better student than I ever was. You're a student athlete and you're swimmers in a super hard sport, twice a day, just all that stuff. And so I totally get that of where's the line between I'm just being kind of a hard ass. That's kind of how I was raised, that there wasn't much wiggle room. And being understanding of it's not a big deal. It's just this thing, but they're also humans.
Yeah, exactly.
And that thing becomes that thing becomes that thing. And then you're I'm going to freak out. And it's all over cheese stick wrappers.
No, for real. In less than 5 years, your kids are going to be in college in their own room, and it's you got to work fast, but you don't want to. I don't know. It's a tough, and I think I was explaining this to my girlfriend the other day. I was I kind of noticed, and maybe I'm off base, I don't know, this trend of generations of mom used to do everything for everyone. And then our parents worked all the time and were never around. So we had to do everything. And so now I'm this generation where I feel like, oh, I can handle it. I'll just do everything. So I'm doing everything. And so my son's gonna, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's gonna be this.
No, it's a weird evolution because roles have changed.
Roles
like the structure of family has changed.
Evolving,
and like there's a lot. I mean, I've read different things, you know, like things with the war, literally, and this is where my brain goes, World War II, and all the men were gone and the women had to do these things, and you know, going into the workforce, and then like the sexual revolution and independent women and working, and then everything just kind of changed, you know, TV dinners, and I'm not saying, and I think they're all, what you do for your family is for your family, you know. Mom can be the breadwinner, dad can be the breadwinner, one can be you could be a stay-at-home dad. I was basically a stay-at-home dad for a number of years, and like there were definitely things and to this day that are like my responsibility. And so it is interesting. I think you got to do what works for you and your family dynamic at the time, and that might even change along the way based on age and things in life, you know. So I think it's like a lot of stuff. If you're well-intentioned, you're doing the best you can, and at the end of the day, the kids are gonna at some point reflect and say we screwed up somewhere, no matter how good they had it. You know?
Definitely.
Pampered, spoiled, rich kids will be like, my parents didn't love me, and like, oh gosh, no matter what, you're kind of. But then they'll get older and they'll appreciate, like, you know, I think of that too. You know, you get to a certain point and you get older and then you're like, oh man, that was rough. Or it's when you get put into those shoes, when then you become a parent yourself and you're like, whoa, yeah, I was a pain in the butt. And that was tough. And so that actually is perfect. What is something from your childhood and upbringing that like was, I don't know if I say like a teachable moment or something that like, I'm not going to be like that, or I'm going to do this different, or something that like from your childhood that you've kind of kept that you're doing differently. It's kind of vague. Like I have an idea in my head of an example for like Carrie and I, but like, or even that you're proud of to that point that you're like, I do this different than it was done with me. And you know that it's better.
As parenting wise, man, that's a tough question because I think health for one. You know, my parents worked fast food, and we didn't have money, so they brought leftovers home. So we were eating leftover hamburger patties and donuts, you know what I mean? And that actually led me to gain a lot of weight as a kid. And so I think I have metabolism issues. And so for my own son, I mean, he's perfect how he is, but I really try to stay on him about his food because I know how I am with food, you know? And then not just, and also just, my mom was an amazing mom. You know, my dad wasn't around much and he left when I was 12 and never said anything, you know? And so I don't want to do that either. You know, I want to be there for him and I want to give him the life that my mom gave me as far as attention. And, you know, she worked nights and 2 jobs at times and she was still like, hey Ben, how are you? You know, amazing woman. I really just strive to be like her and not like my father. My stepdad's great as well. Great man. So I also try to be like him.
I mean, I hear that, I say here, like read, whatever, I feel like they've even done studies that like, it sounds so like low-hanging fruit, but like literal attendance in your child's life significantly changes outcomes. Like if you look at, you know, a majority of the population of prisons, violent criminals, like all these things, like there's not a strong positive male figure in a lot of those lives. Because let's be honest, like most of the people in prison for violent crimes are guys, they're not women. Like, you know, not that no one's flawless, but like we're the ones that are doing that stuff. And it's literally like just having a male figure in your, so like it seems like to me too that you're like, that just seems like such a given, but it is so impactful. Like I think of that, like what you just said, you know, you've already beaten how you grew up. And I think of that as the same way. Like I never saw my biological father after I was like 3, and then my mom remarried. And I think I was like 10 when he left. And so I think of that with JJ, that like, I'm literally already getting to a point where like I've won, and like that should be something that you like take pride in. Like you've already done that, you know. And again, it seems like such like, why is that even a thing? But like it is, and it matters. And
it does. Yeah, it does. In the whole masculine figure thing as well. It's like, I think my mom explained this to me when Oliver was first born. It's like, you know, kids need an arrow. You know, they need a sharp side and a soft feathery side. so it can fly. And it's like being adaptable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the tattoo on your arm. And it's being adaptable in that sense. Yeah. And, when mom's yelling, maybe I need to be Mr. Nice Guy. And when mom's feeling a little good today, maybe I need to be bad cop,
Yeah. Those roles are clearly defined in our house, but there's also, and I've heard someone else describe it, like you can't both be in the angry boat at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's very few and far between, but there are times when clearly the day or my children have like gotten the best of my wife. And that's when all of a sudden I'm like Mr. Calm and Rational, and they're like, they don't know how to take it. And I'm like, we can't both do this. You can't have both your parents mad at you because you're being ridiculous. Like, yes, usually it's me, but there needs to be.
It's tough.
And so that literally is like my point of like our thing that's like so important to Carrie and I. And we literally talked about this last night because we were talking about, questions I was going to ask and how we're going to go through this. Is something that's very prevalent in both of our lives. Is there's a ton of times in our childhoods that like 2:00 in the morning would roll around and there were just maybe not physical knockdown, drag out, but it was like screaming matches and things being thrown and the police coming to your house. And I have multiple occasions of like literally remembering my mother throwing things in the backyard that belonged to my stepfather.
God.
And like my kids have never experienced that and they never will.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting there last night, it's like say 10:30 and they're sound asleep in their beds and nothing is going to wake them up. Maybe the dogs bark or whatever the case, but like they've never woken up to like an angry altercation and chaos and like just this unsettled environment. Like I sleep poorly. We were talking about this before we even started. I have a headphone in every night when I go to bed because I need to distract my brain because it's never been at peace at night. That was when the chaos ensued. That was like you never knew when you were going to get woken up. Like it could be any given night at any given time because like, dad, it was stepdad, but dad's not home. He's going to come home. He's going to have been drinking. What was going on? Like mom's been drinking, like things. And so like we just take, again, it seems like such a simple, like why is that like even a goal? Like it shouldn't, that should be a given. But for us, that's like such an accomplishment that like our kids feel safe and secure. And like to the point that you had just made, and that's how I'll circle this back.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Is that they know that like, okay, dad's angry because he's, tired and grumpy, but mom's got our back and she's always there for us. Or in those rare occasions of when, we've finally broken mom's will. Well, dad, like they always have someone. They're never alone.
Yeah, true.
They're never in danger. They're never, there's always somewhere to turn kind of thing. And so like, I feel like that's just so valuable for people because I think that is lost in one way or another, whether it's absentee or just parents and families are busy and working and quality, not having dinner together, things like that. Like just kids feeling like they're connected. I mean, 'cause I feel like as a society, that's something we're losing. So, you doing that for your son is going to just change his whole perception of the world. Like he's not going to feel alone, because he knows he's got you and he's got whoever else. And so I think that's important.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So you like jumped ahead, but I'm going to go what I think is chronologically. You touched on some other things that I find super interesting.
Okay.
But we're going to back up to, Ben, you were in the military.
I was in the military.
Yeah.
Yes, I was in the military.
What branch of the military were you?
I was in the Army.
Yeah.
So I was, there's kind of a backstory of why I went in. But long story short, I was into running a lot, cross country and stuff. So I started getting into fitness, maybe freshman and sophomore year, started running cross country and just loved it. And I was a musician at the time, and I didn't feel like my mom and stepdad were really going to support me if I wanted to go off, because I had bands wanting me to tour with them back when I was 16. I mean, people were asking me to homeschool so I could go play drums for them. And, so I didn't want to go to college. Like I feel like maybe I'm a self-diagnosed dyslexic. It's hard for me to read. It's hard for me to absorb ADHD, all that bull. So college just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I think I saw an Army commercial where they're out running the Army 10 miler. I was like, oh, dude, that's what I want to do, So I enlisted maybe junior year of high school. This few months later, the band I was playing in actually almost got this huge record deal with this Panic at the Disco, Paramore, their record label. We went down and played their showcase down in Gainesville. And I almost kind of canceled my Army contract. I was like, man, I don't know, maybe I should do the band thing, because this is an actual deal. But unfortunately, we broke up, and so I went in the military. Yeah, I was 19. I was into kind of like radio type stuff, IT stuff. But then I went airborne. I was trying to go to Ranger school, and my brother was at home addicted to drugs. So I came home. You know what I mean? It just wasn't the right time for me mentally to go to Ranger school. So I spent little over 3 years in the Army and 82nd Airborne. Met some amazing people, awesome friends, man. Got a bunch of tattoos, as you can see. And I wouldn't take back that time, man. You know, there were definitely challenges. So you want me to go into that?
Yeah, I mean, because that's something I think, you know, you touch on some of the other stuff, right? You mentioned the musician and the tattoos, but then you like go back. I know obviously like tattoos are very prevalent in the military. Like, you know, you see certain people and you're like, you were in the Army, or, that looks like a special forces guy. That looks like their pattern. But like, it is interesting to think like, you know, do you think when people like look at you kind of walking around now, they're like, I think that dude was in the military? Like,
that's a good question. I don't know.
Because I've actually gotten that. Like, I don't know if it's like the shaved head. Or like,
I mean, you just walk
people like, were you in the, and I'm like, no, I actually wasn't.
I can see that. I don't know, you know, like they probably do. I mean, I would think so. But yeah, you're right. You can usually spot somebody. I don't have any American flag tattoos on me, but I'm not opposed to getting one.
Yeah.
But anyways, so my time in the military was kind of rough because as I said, I'd lost a lot of weight. And so the whole time I was in the military, I never got promoted or awarded, and I was a great soldier. I'd even gotten told by a sergeant, hey, slow down because you're making us look bad before, because I was just save none. I was gung-ho, man. I put everything into it. I would shine my boots in the field, which is stupid, but I just wanted to like, I'd read my Ranger manual every day, you know, but every tape test, man, I never made weight. I was high up in the fitness. I was top 10% of my battalion, but I never weighed in. And they did the tape tests around the neck and the waist, and I always failed. And so there was a time 2 years in where they were like, okay, well, we're just going to kick you out. And I was basically like, thanks, you know, because I'm getting treated like a friggin' idiot over here because I can't make, you know, I should have been 2 ranks above, and I'm still with the, you know, and then the colonel liked me so much that he ripped my packet up. And man, I was devastated. I called my mom crying, dude. I'm a 20-year-old kid crying to my mom, like, Mom, I have to stay in here for another 4 years. Like, I can't do it because I'm getting hazed. I'm getting, you know, just the worst stuff ever.
Yeah.
They paraded me in a room. They told me to take my shirt off. They were laughing at me, throwing stuff at me, just things like that, you know. I just couldn't deal with it. And my mom was like, just hang in there, man. Just hang in there. And thankfully I did, man, because, you know, a year later I'd actually had my shoulder injury that kept popping up. And a year later I got med boarded with those. But if I wouldn't have stayed in that extra year, I wouldn't have gotten any of the benefits, you know?
Right.
So like little things like that, I learned early on that little things like that can happen to you.
Yeah.
And it's you know, you never know what worse luck your bad luck saves you from. And it's like,
right.
I'm so thankful that I didn't get out after 2 years. Like I'm so thankful I stayed in an extra year and some change, because I wouldn't have gotten free school. I wouldn't have gotten so many more benefits. Right. You know, but so Army was a huge life lesson in that sense, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it obviously, you know, people join the military for different reasons. It was something I entertained in high school myself, and honestly was just like too much of a screwed up, like 17-year-old kid to follow through with it. Like
you and Craig.
Yeah, no, Craig was going to college, and I was like, well, I'm probably not going to college. Like, I barely graduated high school, and so I needed to pursue something else, and military was something, it just seemed like I should go do that, but, like, I just couldn't, like, it's funny thinking of myself now, and, like, I do have pretty good discipline, and obviously very physical and active and all that stuff, but, like, I just wasn't in a headspace to where at, like, 17, 18 years old that I could have gone and done it. I mean, that's a big part of it, right? Like I've heard even like the you know, former Navy SEALs, they're like, well, a lot of people walking the street could survive a day at Buds. It's 6 months. Yeah. It's knowing you just got through that day and you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be just as bad or worse. And you have to forget about yesterday. You can't even think about tomorrow. Like you just have to like do the next day. And so I
could imagine you as well. You're probably just like the most independent freaking high schooler ever. You know what I mean? Because of your mom and everything. I mean,
yes and no. You know, it was like for show. You know what I mean? It was like.
But I'm just saying, like, to go into somewhere where you have some grown ass man telling
just
you to do
telling
all
you what
this
to
stuff.
do all the time.
It's like that probably would have been hard, man. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know, for me, it wasn't the thing to do. And then, you know, in hindsight, again, like I didn't end up going. A lot of people I went to school with. I mean, I graduated high school in 1999. People joined the military. September 11th happened.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys and girls spent a lot of time overseas in those next few years. Like, went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, like, you know, saw a lot of things, did a lot of things. Their lives are probably changed significantly. And so I think of that. Like, you know, I don't know that I say lost anyone that I went to school with in war. But I know there was some residual stuff from a lot of people that went over there, and that's a whole other myriad of potential issues that, like, again, if I would have, I don't know.
It's funny you say that was actually probably the first moment I was like, maybe I should join that. You know, watching that in sophomore high school.
Right.
Everybody in my grade and the grades above me, oh, I'm going to join the military.
For sure.
Blah, blah, blah. It was me and one other dude.
No, I mean, I understand like that calling, that draw to defend your country, to feel a, you know, higher sense of purpose kind of thing. I said when the kids that I went to school with, like, we were joining for like the GI Bill because they didn't want to, you know, go right into college or they needed another avenue. Like, it was 1999. It wasn't a thing, you know. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, you joined the National Guard because you wanted to go to college for free, and not to disparage them, but like, I just know that these dudes, that was not their end goal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, fast forward, and you're like, you're going to Afghanistan for 6 months. And you're just like, wait a minute. It was 2 weekends a month, or 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks in the summer, you know? Like, it was just not what you think you signed up for. And, I mean, they all went, whatever. But just totally different outcome, right? Like, you know, I go do that, my whole life is different. Just like if you would have, you know, not stuck it out that extra time, like, whole life different. So, even in the moment, it's unfortunate, but, you know, grand scheme of things, maybe turned out better than
They did, man.
So you touched on music, so that was next on my list because you're a musician.
Yeah, born musician, man.
Born drumsticks in your hand. Hope that was a C-section.
Yeah, no, my parents are musicians. We were like traveling missionaries for a long time. For like little tiny.
You realize every time you talk, there's something that I probably didn't really know. That I'm like, I wish that was on my list.
I've got photos of me dressed like a clown with clown makeup on because I was back there playing the drums or doing puppets. But anyways, you know, my dad was a really good bass player. My mom plays everything. She can play every instrument. My uncle played drums for B.B. King in the studio. I mean, I've just got like a very musical family. And so they actually got me a drum set when I was maybe 10 or something. Because they wanted drums for their skit or whatever. You know? So I was just basically playing a little church song.
Had a whole band except a drummer, so they created one and bought him drums.
My brother played the trombone. And so we dressed as clowns and just played music, man. And then my brother and I, well, he was 3.5 years older than me, so he got into punk rock when he was about 14 or 15. And we started listening to Christian pop punk, NXPX, and all these bands, Slick Shoes, and all these just amazing bands from the California and Washington. And so we started a band.
So is that like Sublime, but like
sort of,
but like without all the
fast food, yeah.
like the bad words?
Yeah, exactly.
So like Christian Green Day?
Yes.
Okay.
Christian fast food, yeah.
Very cool.
And so we started that when I was about 11, 12. We played our first concert. I mean, I'm 11 and a half maybe, playing at a biker bar.
That's hilarious.
And I'm throwing up in the bathroom because I'm so scared and nervous. But I still, you know, get up on stage, man, and just...
How tall were you at 11, by the way?
Yeah, I was probably about...
Because were you 6'4", 6'5"?
I was 6'3", 6'5", 6'4", 6'3".
Okay, so like at 11, were you
I was
like...
probably 5'8", 5'9".
Okay. I didn't know if you were already like 6 feet tall, so like they didn't know what to do. Like, the dude's throwing up, well, he's only 11. Like, what do you mean he's 11? He's 6'2". Like... Well, so the last thing, we had a little technical difficulty. My bad. Again, I can just drag these things out forever. 6 foot tall, drunk 11-year-old Ben, throwing up in a biker bar, dressed like a clown. Is that a recap? Is that all? Or my
no clown? Yeah, no. I was probably just wearing some Jinkos. Remember Jinkos?
I do. The wide leg. Jinkos. Yeah. I never had those. I was never like skater.
Yeah.
I was also like chubby, cool. Right? The husky.
Yeah.
Although those probably would have worked for that, but I never got into. I had some friends, so it was like I had like my school friends that were all like jocks and played sports, and then like my at home friends were more like skaters, and I was like in the middle. Like I was better athletes than the skaters, and got into trouble easier than the good. But yeah, never got into the skating or Jenko thing. But I do remember them pretty vividly.
Puka shell necklace, beads, and stuff.
Okay, so I definitely had one of those. I definitely had. I mean, that was kind of a part of the uniform.
Yeah, we started playing shows in Maryville. Actually, our first show was in Maryville, this biker bar, and we played with this bigger Christian rock band called Nailed, or maybe it was Disciple. It was one of these two bands, and they actually loved us. And so like, hey, will you guys play with us next Friday? You know,
that's crazy.
And then we, eventually, I mean, I was 13, I think. We had a sold out show at a big church in Sevierville, and we were on a record label by the time I was 14, and different record label at 15, and high school, and a really good band that we were on a label and almost signed the Fuel by Ramen from that label. So, I've had a really fun career. And
that's wild.
Even after the military, I joined a few bands and went out to California to join a band, and moved to Texas to join a band, and started my own throughout the years. And, I've played some huge shows, and it's fun. I love it. I miss it, but, it really consumes me. And I'm so scared that I'm going to become my father if I'm playing music, while having a son. And it's like, I know it never will, but it's just an irrational fear of mine. Yeah. It's just like, I don't want to, my dad is like, he needs a bass or we need a new refrigerator. I'm going to buy the bass, That's just the type of
I didn't know. I wasn't quite making the connection, but now I got what you're saying.
Or it's like, that's probably why you moved to Ray. I don't know.
Right.
And it's like, I would never put anything in front of him.
Sure.
Not that, and I don't know. I think as you get older, you just kind of fall out of love with old things. And
I gotcha. So did I make up that you opened for Foo Fighters?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe someone here told me that.
Yeah, I don't think that ever happened, man. I mean, we've played some pretty big like festivals.
Yeah.
And literally, I mean, we used to play 2-3 times a week. I mean, for years. And so I don't know. Maybe we played.
Because I had it in my head that maybe somebody here told me that like, oh yeah, Ben's a musician, he's really good. He was in a band that opened for Foo Fighters. And then I distinctly remember, like I just have weird things that like just go in the back of the, I got a big head, a lot of space in there. That it was it the drummer for Foo Fighters that passed away?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Like I literally remember it was like the next morning we were working out and one of their songs came on and you kind of like smirked and you were like, too soon. Oh, yeah, and I had it in my head that I was like, maybe he actually did. Maybe he knew him. So. Like that is literally stuck in my head for, it might be 3 years now. I remember that was like, I don't think I knew you that well. And I just remembered that.
I wish I could be a pathological liar sometimes because I would love to be like, yeah, man, that happened.
Yeah.
You would never know.
Yeah. I knew the drummer and I mean, he's unfortunately passed away. So it's hard to corroborate the story. But so, you're saying like, old habits or old things kind of like, in the past sort of thing. But what do you feel like, what is music for you? Like, what did it do for you? Or like when you still, cause I see you sometimes, like I've seen you like playing drums or even guitar, like I've seen it on like social media or stuff. Mm-hmm. Like what is that for you?
It's just my outlet, man. If I'm going through something, usually, if I'm going through a real hard time or if I'm really, really happy, it's just my outlet. Yeah. And I don't know. I have to be in this certain headspace to where I go down to my basement and pick up a guitar and write something. I've gotten offers to play for money. Drums, like backup drums, stuff like that. But it's not money that drives it. For me, it's just
passion.
Passion, man. And I have to be in the right headspace. And if I'm not, I'm just wasting my time.
Well, I mean, I do know some folks here in our community that do perform. We've got some guitar players, singers, Dustin Parker, Caleb Mullins, The Witness. Just saying. I don't know. We could maybe put something together sometime.
Yeah. It'd be fun to have a jam sesh.
Play drums at the gym during a workout or something.
That'd be hilarious.
I mean, Dustin and Parker played the Christmas party.
Oh yeah,
they sang and they did well. So. I think you kind of hit this too, but so I have it as barber.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's maybe not completely accurately describing it, but you have definitely cut hair.
Yes, I started hair school in 2009 in Dallas, and I was kind of looking at my life. I didn't really like doing graphic design when I was doing at the time. And I was like, man, I'm too tattooed to work at McDonald's. So what is there that I can do? that I could get paid pretty decently, and it's a fun job. So, I hung out at this dude's salon that I was friends with at the time, and I had a good time, man. It's a great career. You get to talk to people, man. I've heard things that probably psychologists have never heard about. I mean, people tell me everything, affairs and just this wild stuff. I'm like, man, don't tell me.
Right.
But it's a very powerful career in that sense. And I feel like I've given advice. I've given 3 different people their last haircut that are dying from cancer, just things like that.
Yeah.
And it's so sad, but it's also like this chance for me to just be like, man, you had a great life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
words of.
Well, I feel like you're a very good listener. Like, you're very like empathetic. Like, just you are easy to talk to for, like people can just tell you stuff, and you don't seem the type that like that information's gonna go anywhere else kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a funny like space of vulnerability, but not really. Cause like you're not in surgery, you're not in like but like you're in this like a space that's like comfortable for you. And I remember, I cut my own hair now and have for a long time, obviously, but I do remember like I used to get my hair cut every week. And it was because I always try to keep it super short. And it was just this guy. His name was Scott. And I used to just go, and I used to work nights. And I would go there 7:30 in the morning on Friday. And I would hang out there till 9 for my 15 or 20-minute haircut. And we would just talk. And he knew a lot about me. Like, he just created like this space where I would just hang out and talk. I feel like it's barbers or, hairdresser, hairstylist, bartender, like there are people that like, and obviously there's some alcohol that fuels the bartender getting information, but
you get men talking, and it's just, I don't know.
Maybe we don't always have a place to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I think maybe that's where Epstein got his start. He was a barber.
Oh boy.
And he heard just 1 or 2. I'm messing with you, but
now we're going down a rabbit hole.
I'm totally kidding.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah. Seriously though, I've heard some certain things before, but I'm like, man, I can't believe you're telling me that.
Yeah.
But hey, but that's your job. It's all confidential. I wasn't very good at cutting hair, and I would totally admit that. I'm just not a very consistent person. I can't give the same haircut more than 2 times.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, man, for real. You never know what you get. So
we love Ben, but the haircut looks different every time.
Every time. So that's kind of why. I don't know. I love doing it, but that's kind of why.
There's a lot of things that are like that, though. I kind of jokingly say that even, obviously our main thing is like group fitness stuff, but like personal training and things like that. Like you'll go into a gym and there's somebody, they're working with a trainer and they've had the same trainer for 10 years. And you're like, I don't know that they've done all that much in the last hour that they've been here, but it's that personal connection, that person to talk to, that person that makes them feel heard and all that kind of stuff. And so like, people are willing to pay or maybe not care that their hair looks different every time because they're like, I just want to go talk to Ben. That's my like not admitting I'm going to therapy, but I still get the benefit of it. And so
could be. Also too with stylists, and this is a whole tangent, but you see the emperor's clothes. I forget what that parable is about the designer, and basically the emperor goes out and he has no clothes.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can kind of tell people they look great and they're going to be like, oh, okay. Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah.
I didn't do that often. I mean, there were some times where I kind of had to, but
have you ever seen Paddington? I know this is a bit of well, you should, because it's a good movie, but it's a bear, whatever. But he ends up like buzzing off the back of the dude's hair, and he glues it on with marmalade. Because that's like, this is such a weird, like how I'm weaving this in, but it was just basically like, don't look at the back. Then he finally like notices like, what is that? Like you glued my hair on with marmalade. At first he was just like, you look great. You have good, beautiful
delivery.
haircut.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can soften a lot of blows, man. I mean, I melted a girl's hair off one time. I felt terrible. I bought her every conditioner there is, but you can with words and it's gonna be okay.
Trust me, I know how does that movement look? I'm like, it's looking good. We're getting better. No, I can relate. So, but I could see how you would do well in that space. Like I really can. Which kind of then leads into the next thing that a lot of people maybe don't know about the Ben Miller entrepreneur. I feel like that's a thing that we have, that like we're both, neither one of us is ever short on ideas. That's what I'm meaning. Like,
yes.
And you have definitely, I've taken one and kind of gone with it. There's one in particular that you built from the ground up. So that was something that we touched on last time, was like me taking over, purchasing a business, coming in, and then what that was like. But so you also built, created product, built a business, company, what have you, kind of related to that, hairstyle kind of thing. Like, so tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did that start for you?
I've always been a DIY type of dude. Even in bands, I would make a CD layout cover on Paint Shop, and I'd go to Kinko's and print it out, and then I'd put them all together, and I kind of like put like a fake little record label name. That was when we weren't actually on a label. Yeah. But I always, I don't know, I've always just been a DIY person, and I had a clothing line with a friend when I lived in Dallas, my buddy Tim. Just little things like that. I've always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit because I just don't want to work for the man. Yeah. So I was doing hair, found out I was having a child, kind of wanted to make, I don't know, I wanted to make more of like a legacy for him and for me and for everyone. And I saw a need, for a good product that was affordable and something that was easy to use. And, I'd use maybe 4 or 5 different product lines in salons. And so I kind of just took my top 3 favorite, just did extensive research and like, what does this ingredient do? What does that ingredient do? This and that. So I started making stuff in my kitchen, and, I had a product that I gave away to some friends, and a couple of my friends were like, hey, you have any more? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, man, I'm out. Well, can I buy some? And I think that's when you have something good, is like when a buddy is like, hey, can I buy that? Yeah. You're like, oh.
Yeah, they're not just asking for it.
They don't want something
like,
free. Yeah,
I want to give you money for it.
Yes. Yeah. They wanted that instead of the $4 Axe stuff. And so when that happened, I was like, man, maybe I have something here. So I made a couple more batches and took a few to a hair show up in Chicago. And I gave some to some platform artists. I didn't even have labels on them. I had like stickers that had it with my email on there. And one of the platform artists like emailed me after the show, was like, man, this stuff is awesome. Like, you need to start making this. Let me know when you do it. I'll sell it for you, blah, blah, blah. So that's when I started learning website design, WordPress, and, just all this different stuff, man. And it was, my son was, maybe 9 months old. So I would work until 2 a.m. and then get up with him in the mornings and, watch Mickey Mouse Playhouse all morning. And then, also while scrolling through stuff, and just kind of just juggled all that for years. Yeah. But I think it was also timing. It was like when pomades and stuff were starting to really take off, and men were really starting to style their hair more. It was like 2012. So that was a big part of it too. Yeah. But it just kind of took off, and thankfully,
That's cool. And so how long did you, from that point, like, hey, maybe I have something here, one, I guess the question was like, kind of where did it go, or what did it get to? And like, what was that time frame of like, because obviously, hey, you need to make this, like I would sell it. Well, that's still different than like paying the bills from it kind of deal. Yeah. Or
I started small, man. I didn't go out and get the nicest labels at first. I bought like the sheet labels, and it's just little stacked sheet labels that were super cheap. And I just stacked, I just put the labels on and took pictures with my iPhone at the time. I didn't have a nice camera. And just started learning. There's so much you can do if you just learn. Like, man, knowledge is power, and the more you learn, man, the more I was learning about it, just the cheaper things got, the easier things got. Right. I was shipping them right from my house. And the first year, I think I made $60,000. Wow. The first year. And I'm shipping products to Singapore, So I'm making videos of, hair tutorials and how to style a pompadour, stuff like that. I had one get like 500,000 views.
That's crazy.
Yeah, in like a year. And I was like, oh, well, that really helped me as well. Yeah. But that's kind of what it happens. Like once something starts taking off, it kind of just spreads like wildfire if it's like a decent product,
Yeah, yeah. And then what was the motivation to, we'll say, get out of that space, move on from it? Because like, so that product, you don't own that company anymore.
Nope. I sold it to celebrity hairstylist Kristan Serafino. It's now called The Best Paste. It's made down in Florida. She's from New York City. But I sold it. She had been using it for a little while, and she really believed in it. and I was going to sell to Regis, which is like they own Supercuts and Roosters and stuff. Right before the pandemic, I was negotiating with them, and then after COVID happened, they were like, "Oh, we're not going to buy product companies anymore." Yeah. So I'm like, "Dang!" I was really on that high of like wanting to sell it and get out. I'd already convinced myself that, you know what, maybe I'm better off doing something else.
Right.
And so she had asked me maybe a year before, and I just wasn't ready to sell it. And so I reached back out to her. I was like, "Hey, are you still wanting to maybe, buy the company?" And so she's like, "Yeah, definitely." So, we talked for a few months and finally negotiated a price and everything. And so she snatched it up.
Very cool. What year? When did you?
I sold it in 2021.
Okay.
Yep. And I continued to make the product I would go down to Jacksonville for a week. I think I maybe did that 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Made several thousand products. And so it just kind of, now they're doing their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, we talked last week, I took over an existing company or business. And so everything, like the framework was there, it was just the challenges I had, they're very different than starting from scratch. Like, what was, I guess, the biggest obstacle or the biggest learning lesson that, if you were gonna, maybe it's an apparel line or whatever, if you were going to start to do that again, what are things that current Ben wish he could have told past Ben that could have saved some pain and suffering?
Could I smack myself in the face or?
No, I guess you can. Is that all you would have done?
I think just know your value, you know what I mean? And know your worth. And after I sold it, there was an uproar on YouTube, man, and people were pissed. And I didn't even know if people cared. I had people emailing me "Man, what would you?" I had this product called Courage Clay, where in the back it said, "I will build the courage too," and people wrote what they wanted to, kind of like goals that you set. Yeah, you set on your sink and you read it every day. I didn't know anyone did that. And I had a woman email me "Man, I divorced my partner and that helped me get through. And now I just wanted you to know what you sold because it meant everything to me and this and that."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't know."
Because you were the product.
Yeah,
to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not you were the product.
It made her feel good. Yeah, the product made her feel good, and then she looked at the jar.
Just meaning your connection to it. Meaning it was more closely connected to you and to your customers than you realized.
Yes, 100%.
It's funny because I would say a similar thing to myself a few years ago, which hindsight, because maybe it wouldn't have worked, but know your worth, because I would have just done things differently of taking control of situations and not feeling so tied to well, this business has been in place for X number of years and this is how things were done, even though it might not be a true reflection of myself and my values and how I want things to be. But I wasn't comfortable in my own space to take that up and be well, that's how you did it, but this is how we're going to do it now. And I'm going to do a good job and it's going to work. It's hard because maybe I wouldn't have had the ability to do that because I didn't necessarily have buy-in. You created the whole thing. You created the company, the product. You were, yeah, you know what I mean. So
I raised it.
You had that power. I didn't feel like I had it, and I think maybe I probably would have had it a little sooner than I realized.
Yeah.
Just to do things again in the reflection of me. So it's funny because again, very different path to do it, but some of there's carryover, there's similarities.
Yeah, there is, and it's. I kind of think it's maybe a little imposter syndrome thing where I just didn't think I was really that important, or I don't know. People saw it differently than what I was doing in my house. They probably thought it was a big warehouse, which I did have a warehouse for a little while. Then I moved it to a big garage, and I think people thought it was bigger than that.
Yeah.
It was Amazon bestseller. It was Amazon's choice.
Oh, wow.
Things like that.
Yeah. Perception is reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I should have kind of realized that, and I don't know, but also get everything in writing. I should have gotten things in writing that afterwards I just wasn't happy about.
Yeah. That's a valuable business lesson.
Yes.
I had that conversation literally this week that in a lot of situations I'll put myself into a yeah, no big deal. We'll figure it out, or, you know, we'll make things work. I mean, you know, firsthand about some of those situations with, you know, a second gym that I owned that I put myself into a situation where I was like, well, this inevitably will have value down the road. So we're not going to worry too much about like contracts or, you know, like how things are going to be. We're just going to figure it out because this is going to be awesome for both of us. And then it became very awesome on one side. And then, you know, that builds and you're like, you know, in my case, it turns into resentment and then things just go south and don't have the desired outcome that you would have liked. But if it would have been just handled differently on the front end, like, maybe it could have been different. So that's a really important is the more you leave open to interpretation, that other person is going to interpret what best suits them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very great point.
And, you know, I'm not an innocent, you know, like never do wrong person, but like I do feel like in a lot of instances I am going to try to give benefit of the doubt and like give people the rope to hang themselves sort of thing. And more often than not, they actually do. And you're like,
Yeah. So, you know, it's, forgiveness is, man, so powerful, man. And, you know, bitterness, look what it does to an apple. It spoils it. And it's a mushy, disgusting thing. And so I really try in all the things in my life. I'm not talking about this transaction, but anything, you know, it's like water off a duck's back, you know, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just money. I'll make it back. You know, I know I will. Or it's just time. Like, oh, well, I would have probably been picking my nose and eating my boogers if I wasn't doing this. And it's, you know what I'm saying? It's
and it controls you. You're hanging on to it. You're giving, you know, it's like when you're upset with someone, you're still giving them control over the situation. You know, I think of that sometimes if there's things that have happened where it runs through my head and it frustrates me or whatever. I'm like, does the other person even think about this at all?
Probably not.
They're just taking up space in my brain rent free. And like, I'm bugged by it and they are indifferent to it. And I'm like, you know, they're winning. Like just...
Don't let anyone hijack your happiness, man.
Yeah. So. No, I would agree. So in terms of like future plans, so you're doing, so again, like, dude, you're just into everything, right? Like part of this whole thing in the podcast was like, you started doing photos for gym events. You were doing YouTube videos for weightlifters. Like I know you do wedding photography and that kind of stuff. So like with this entrepreneurial spirit, like what's kind of if you could have something you're doing right now that like blows up, what would it be?
Right now, you know, I really want to focus on saving on apparel and possibly down the road another grooming line, you know, because I think that, you know, before with Anchors, I didn't have the tools to make videos and things like that. You know, I really don't see myself as a great Reels. Yeah, I'm not trendy like that, but informative
clickbait kind of dude.
Yeah, I'm not a clickbait kind of dude. But when it comes to valuable info on YouTube or how-tos and stuff like that, you know, that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of merge the whole video, photo thing and just try to do better content, more informative content, but also create a product that is going to add value to someone's life. And that's the main thing, you know. A million things I could sell right now and do, but I really just want to add value because that's how you sleep at night, you know.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's funny because not clickbait, because I know that is like a negative connotation thing, but you're like an attention-getting dude.
I don't like it though.
Tall, dark, and handsome, covered in tattoos. Like if I was scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and all of a sudden there pops up Ben, I'd be like, what's going on? Like even if I didn't know you, like, so this will kind of lead into, you know, one of the next things, but like we talked about this a little bit where I'm just fascinated by things at like a high level or an extreme or whatever the case may be, whether it's athletics or intelligence or whatever. Like I literally know that I have gone to like an Instagram page because, you know, I don't go into like the search thing where it gives you all the suggested stuff all that often because I feel like that's a wasted time rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is.
But I have. It's something I've never done it. And if I saw like a fit dude covered in tattoos, I'd be like, what's he got going on? Like it is something that gets people attention. Yeah. So if you can like use that to your benefit and then you get them in and then you provide them the value, you start giving them, you know, informative content and then quality products. Like it's kind of the best of both worlds. Like it's not just like flashy, you know, bathing suits and butt cheeks, but then there's like, that's all you're selling is bathing suits and butt cheeks. But you can provide some value on the back end. I mean, you want to go bathing suits and butt cheeks, that's on you.
Yeah, no. But the thing about me though is like I like being behind the scenes, man. You know, like I don't like being on the camera. I don't really like being the one answering questions. I like asking. I like serving, and that's kind of how I was raised. And
so this is like torture for you right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, but tattoos, it's not, for me, it's not like, I think for some people they like the attention, and it's less for me. You know what I mean? That's not what it's about for me. It's like, hey, look at this, not at this,
Right.
Does that make sense?
My eyes are up here.
Yeah. It's like, don't,
well, you put it, that's why.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Because that is going to be the
don't
next...
get to know me. Just look at this, and then
it's the thing that's most noticeable, right? I mean, it's not. I'm not going to. You're tall as well. Like, you're a tall guy. Yeah. We live in East Tennessee. Like, it's hot. Like, it's t-shirts and shorts. Like, it's pretty obvious and apparent that, like, here's a super tall dude. He's got a ton of tattoos. Like, it doesn't. It's different now, right? It's 2025. It's not like whenever that, like, the only obvious answer was you were a biker or an ex-con, the negative connotation with tattoos. Like, I feel like they're just way more prevalent. Yeah, like, a ton of people have them. Like, people you don't think have tattoos or whatever. Like, it's just it's more socially acceptable, which I think is good.
Yeah.
But is definitely something that will attract someone's attention.
Yeah, it does.
And so I have my, like, I guess, question, but also thoughts on, like, so why? Like, it's funny because that's with the whole save none thing. It was a joke. And I was like, does that mean, like, save none, like available skin? Like, there's save none, like, it's kind of a tongue in cheek kind of joke. But, like, what was the inspiration? Like, so it's multi-layered. Like, what was the inspiration for, like, hey, I want to get a tattoo? What was your first tattoo? And then to the level of, like, I mean, I don't even know how many you have. Hundreds, thousands, like
a million.
No,
so I think for me, why it's, punk rock, man. As when I was 12, I was looking up to Mike Herrera, was the singer of MXPX. I thought he was just the coolest dude in the world. Covered in tattoos, hand tattoos, neck tattoos, 18-year-old kid, from Birmingham, Washington. And I kind of just always loved that style. And I've always loved tattoos. I'm a very, like, I don't know. I don't know a lot of risk. I mean, I do when it comes to, I hate flying. I hate standing on the ledge of a building, that sort of risk.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, everyone's like, oh, I'd never get a tattoo on me forever. Awesome. Cool. Like, this is a painting that will never get burned up in a fire. You know what I mean? Or it's like, I don't think my skin is that great. Like, who cares if it's, does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like, people are always just like, wow, you're never going to get a job. Okay, well, I'm going to make my own job.
Right.
It's just something that I do it because I love it. I think they look cool.
Was this the goal? Like, when you started, like, did you go into it like, I'm getting? So what was your first tattoo?
My first one was this swallow right here.
Okay.
It's like a little bird.
Yeah.
It's just like a shy little blue bird.
Yeah.
And then I actually first, like, I wanted from here up, like, to my shoulder. And then in the Army, I was like, oh, I'm just going to get my forearm done. And then after that, it was all bets are off.
Yeah. There's like a certain number.
Yeah. And then when I got out, I was going to stop at wrist. And when I got out, I was like, man, the only place I could work around here is like Y12 or something. And I don't want that, which is awesome for some people, just not for me.
Right.
And so I got my hands tattooed because I kind of just made it to where I had to do something I love to do. And I had to, like, make it work, And from there, you ever remember that movie? Was it Memento? The
movie in reverse?
Yeah, the one where he writes stuff all over himself.
I didn't think, like, anyone ever saw that movie. Like, I've never talked about that movie with anybody ever. I saw it, like, when I was probably in my early 20s. Like, the whole movie's basically in reverse, right? Yeah. You don't really find out what happened until the very end. Yeah.
He just writes all these reminders on himself. And that's what I have. I have faith. I have grace, mercy. My brother's name right here. I have sacrifice, hope. Gratitude, victory,
Right.
These are like constant reminders that I see in the mirror. If I'm looking at a picture of myself, I'm like, oh yeah, victory. What was that? Oh yeah, I got through that one time, And so that's another thing, what it is for me. It's like constant reminders of.
So, like, it defines you, but not really in a way. Like, it sends it like, it's for you.
For me, yeah.
It's not for the rest of the world, but, like, almost like there's actually a show. This is a weird tangent, but it's called Prison Break.
Yeah, I know Prison Break. Yeah,
right. He tattooed how to escape the prison.
Yeah.
And so, like, in a way, like, this is, if someone actually, like, read your tattoos, they would get to understand a lot about Ben.
Yes.
But it's not really for them.
No. Yeah.
Totally like, happy to talk about it kind of thing. Totally right, but you're like, No, like I have a few, you know, 6 or whatever it is, you know, 7 tattoos, but like, you know, it's an arrow. Everyone just thinks that like I like Cam Hanes, you know, I'm like, oh, you into archery? And like, yes, I think archery is cool. I've never actually used the bow. It's more the symbol of it, the like pulling back to be long. You know, life always drags you back. That's literally what it was. I like when you said the like sharp point and then the soft end kind of thing, like describing parenting and childhood and stuff.
Life,
like that's
navigating
a cool
life. Yeah.
For us and just what Carrie and I have kind of navigated. It's like, you know, sometimes you're going to get dragged back. Like, you know, the pitfall saved you from the worst thing. Like you're going to get dragged back, but eventually you're going to get launched forward. And that's how an arrow is. And that's what that is for me. And yeah, it's like, it's not really, everyone thinks it means something else. Most of the other ones are like they're symbols. No one knows what it is. It's like my wife's name or kanji, whatever kind of thing.
That's awesome.
But like it does define you, but not in the way that like, you know.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, no, you're totally right. And as you could probably tell, I don't take myself too seriously, man. I mean, I always need a haircut. You know, like I wear gym shorts and a shirt, crazy sock. You know what I mean? I don't take myself too seriously. So my skin isn't that important to me. I know that sounds stupid, but like if I have a memory or a tattoo I want to do, I'll just do it. I don't really put much thought into it. I don't know.
So I have to ask, because it was something that like came into my head when thinking about this and thinking about talking about your tattoos. Is there, and maybe there's not, is there any level of like, just because of how you grew up, the experiences you had, the things that you've dealt with, where it's almost like armor or a shield?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like that's just something that kind of stuck in my head of like, though it's skin deep and it's super close, it's not literal like armor, but in a way it is. Like it's this thing that like, let's be honest, there's some people walking the street still, even though more socially acceptable people be like, I'm probably not going to talk to that giant dude with all the tattoos. Like I don't want to call it a defense mechanism.
No, it is. You're totally right, man. I had a psychologist, a VA doctor, tell me that one time. He's like, oh, I see your face tattoo, you're covered in tattoos. He was like, you know, a lot of prisoners are heavily tattooed. It's mainly because they just don't want anyone to get to know them, you know?
Yeah.
They want to just, and I don't think I'm that like sad about it or anything like that. It's mine are colorful and happy, but yeah totally, man. It's a different conversation than something else that maybe would be about myself, maybe.
Right.
You know,
it's a little bit of a barrier potentially
for sure
between.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you kind of touched on it before with the people getting close and the, and I can relate, you know, like there's, when you've been burned enough times or, you know, I say it, enough people have left. Like my wife, the only person that I view has never left me. Everyone else in my life has always left me. So that's why I try to put myself in positions of control if I can, but also can flip switches and I can leave people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets me into trouble because I leave things too soon because I start sensing like, oh, you're going to go. And I'm like, well, you're dead to me. Unfollow, like move on with life because I've just got so accustomed to it. But so in a way,
do you ever, how's it like, because you said that last week and it kind of like shook me a little bit. Not shocking, you know? So you can just like abruptly, and do you ever regret that, or do you just turn it off?
I do and I don't. Like I have regrets because I think of the big picture. I mean, we touched on the situation, you know, the other gym and interactions and, you know, people I've been around that I'm like, man, I wish the outcome of that was different, but it's not anything that I lose sleep over. Because like what I would view as the most important people in the world to me were able to like kind of walk away and leave figuratively or literally, that for me, it's really kind of easy to flip the switch and move on. I say that, and it's probably not 100% accurate because there are situations, there are people that have gone that it's like, because I think the leaving process could have been handled better. But I'm still okay with the fact that they're gone. I don't know if that makes sense. Like there's not too many people, and it's not to be disrespectful to anyone. Like I care about people. There's some people that have been like phenomenal to me, especially I think of the last couple of years in my, you know, taking over the gym and doing all this stuff and the relationships that I have. But I almost can like justify it to myself now of like, well, I own a business. I own a fitness business. I want to do this for a long time. Everyone that walks in the doors between Monday morning when we open, and we're open every day basically, but you know, Monday, whatever, they're all going to leave. there's going to be a time where they're never coming back. They're going to move away. They're going to get sick of doing what we're doing. Like, if I do this the way that I want it to be done and the way that I hope for myself, my family, my goals, everyone that's currently in my life will leave. Because we're in a transactional business. Like, they're not going to, I mean, we have members that have been here 16 years. If I'm doing this for another 15, they're going to do CrossFit for 30 years. Like, they're going to be, and it's not, maybe I'll be wrong, but like, that's just how I think of it. So that's like the space that I've created, that when Ben walks in the door, I love talking to Ben and seeing Ben. I hope Ben's here, as long as Ben wants to be here. But if you came in tomorrow and you're like, dude, I joined a band, my son is coming with me, we're going wherever, I'd be like, that stinks. I'm not going to see Ben so much for our podcast. But I would just accept it because like people just leave.
Yeah.
And I know that's probably not not the best, but that's just how I've done things. So like, when people leave, they leave, and I just kind of try to move on. And I know subconsciously I probably don't entirely do that, but I know on the front end, like I'm just like, and I literally I kind of mime, like, because I think of like social media. I'm like, well, you're gone. I'm not going to follow you on Facebook or Instagram. I'm not going to be interested in what you've got going on anymore. And it's not out of disrespect. It's just, you're not part of my life anymore. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep going with those that are. I don't even, the tattoos. But so like, that's my kind of defense mechanism, is I can be like a light switch with people. I've been proven wrong in handling that on more than one occasion, thankfully so in some instances, but that's just my defense mechanism, is that like, no, you're not breaking up with me. I've already broken up with you.
Yeah, you can't fire me, I'll quit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel like that's like a TV show or a movie. Like, you can't fire me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's it. But the tattoo thing was just something that I was like, is that a... I don't want to say subconscious, but it's like, it's a layer, it's a barrier.
I'd say
it's a protective thing. Yeah. And not that means you don't want people to come in, but it's a potential thing that's going to at least be a deterrent, or at least make you feel like I've got this suit of armor.
Yeah.
And
could be.
I don't know. Because I also feel like there's a type of person, I mean, I feel like we talked about it early on, but someone that has a genuine interest in who you are, you're going to be able to gauge the questions that, hey man, you got a lot of tattoos, like what's the coolest place? Like, there's a way that someone will ask a question that it probably feels more genuine to you. Yeah. That you're like, okay, you are a person I'm willing to let in. Or if someone asks a dumb question, did those hurt?
Did that hurt?
Right. Yeah. And you're just like, this is why I have them. This is my armor for you, person that asks questions like, did these hurt? Of course they hurt. It's on my face. So,
man, wasn't COVID so nice when like no one would talk to you? They just...
Oh, I don't know, man. This is East Tennessee. We had a very different experience then. I will say it was different. It was different. Is there a next tattoo? Is there like a, because is that how it works? Do you wait for the moment to strike, or do you just show up and be like, dude, what do you got?
I mean, at this point, I have a million ideas, but it's like finding the time to go and letting it heal. It's like, I want to do burpees on Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to have to like stop what I'm doing and baby a tattoo. And I don't know. It's not that I don't want anymore. It's just, I just don't really feel like it. I've been through it.
Or it has to be really important.
Yes. Yeah. I'll probably start my back. I don't have anything on my back. I'm waiting for one giant piece and that I kind of like. So I think I'm getting to the age where I'll probably start my back next.
Very cool. I know we've talked about it. I have pictures that I've just been kind of putting it off for different reasons. Like I want more. I like them. I like the look. I like there's that look. Mm-hmm. It's funny because it's like that the military dude, like they get like the half sleeve or there's like a certain look. It's prominent in like jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah, for sure.
There's like the dude that like the purple belt dude that's kind of jacked, that's got all the tattoos. You're like, you just look like somebody I wouldn't want to mess with. And I'm not sure. I guess that's maybe the look I'm going for.
Yeah.
I'm a fairly personable person.
It's funny though, because I'm like a giant, gentle giant. You know what I mean? Like my mom always called me a bear or a gentle giant. And it's like, I'll just hug someone. You know what I mean? I don't want to. I'm not scary.
Right. Well, that's how I think of you. You're very kind. You're very.
But when people see me, they probably think I am, and I'm like, no, dude. If you only knew that. Yeah.
But it allows you to decide. Yeah. Who gets to know that and who doesn't.
True, yeah.
So there's that layer. So you mentioned getting into CrossFit. That was kind of a while back when we started.
Yep.
What was the motivation for that?
I I don't know. I just wanted a different sort of fitness. I wanted a community. I had one of my really, really good buddies, Caleb, owned a gym here a long time ago, and he kind of turned me over to Johnny because he said this was like the gym that he liked programming the most. And so I live a mile away. So I popped in, talked to Rick and Johnny, man, just love those guys, and started coming, you know, and everyone I talked to was like, oh yeah, that'll last, you know, maybe a month. And I was coming 6-7 days a week, you know. I love it, man. I love exerting myself. And
I'm looking at the wall because you are definitely like Mr. Consistent. Yes, you are over 5 years.
Without COVID, man, I would have been
of our 20 committee. So you've worked out, either come to the gym or verified, kind of done your own thing. But I feel like I know you do some stuff on your own too, but you are definitely like a come to the gym person. Like for over 5 years, you've been to the gym 20 times in a month. Like
my medicine, you know, and it's one of those things where it's, you know, everyone has their budgets, and it's probably the last to go for me, you know, because I need it. I need the spirit that gives me and the friendship and just the I love it. I love the workouts. I don't know.
No, I get it. I mean, obviously I'm biased, right? Like I'm the guy that owns the gym, but like I get it. Like there's so much more that like people don't understand until they're in it, or if they've come to it but they haven't opened themselves up to that. Like you're just in this like group of people and you're doing challenging things and you're making the best of it and having fun. And like, hopefully this bleeds over into other areas of your life, whether you're like that already, so you gravitate towards this. Like there's, you know, a type A type person that like, it's a natural kind of fit for you, or you come into this and it builds things in you that you can then take elsewhere. You're like, man, I never thought I would do this thing and now I could do it. Mm-hmm. But
you know, what you were just talking about, I have a good line that I tell people all the time. Like, oh, isn't that expensive? Don't you pay like $600 a month? I'm like, no, it's $175 and some whatever around that. But like, think about all the money you spend being unhealthy.
Right.
And it's like, I've caught out 90% of that, you know, and I save money now, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, this is like main event every day for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a child, like I go and it's just fun and it's exciting. And again, like I'm saving money in other areas. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir, and that's what I try to like instill in people is like, think of it as like a price per use thing.
Yeah.
You know, so say, $175 a month. If you're coming to the gym 20 times, I mean, I'm bad at math, but it's less than $9 per time coming here. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do for not, like, you can't do
hour entertainment plus not as many as you want. You could do 2 hours a day.
You can be here as much as you want, but you know, comparatively, you go to do anything. You take your kids somewhere, it's $30 to jump at a trampoline. And I'm not trying to like argue our pricing thing. The thing is, like, for sure, if you use it, if you show up a consistent amount of times, your price per use goes down, and then the value you get from it of you're making those healthy life choices, you're cutting out things that maybe you were spending money on. And let's be honest with us, and that'll kind of get into our last question here at the end. But like, when you're 60 something years old, you're either going to have spent the money and you don't need to, but now you're going to be spending it on doctor visits and medication and all this other crap. Like, that money gets spent. I literally had this. It was like I was listening to a podcast this week, and these guys were talking about like being super fit, doing CrossFit, doing jiu-jitsu, doing these things. And they're like, you know, their knees are a little bit wonky. They've got these aches and pains. They're all this stuff. And he's like, my sister's 3 years younger than me. Her back hurts all the time, and she's got bad knees. She's never exercised since she left high school. It's like, you're either going to grow old and deteriorate and your body's not going to function well, or you're going to have a whole lot of fun for 20 or 30 years. And maybe you got some cuts and bruises and some nicks and scars, but like, those are the best stories for one.
Yeah.
But like, 60-year-old you isn't on these medications. So like, you're paying that money one way or the other, right? Like, it's $200 a month. We were talking when we first started the GLP-1 stuff. I hear those ads. I'm like, oh, so it's $200 a month to get your Ozempic injection? No side effects from us other than a good time.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come hang out, make some friends. I mean, we have people, they meet, you know, make best friends, relationships, like job opportunities. Like, you get in a group of a bunch of like-minded people, you never know what can happen from it. So, I mean, obviously, I'm a huge advocate of...
Like, I've spent more on a night of drinking, you know, or a bottle of cologne.
Right.
You know, and just the confidence that CrossFit gives you. And I don't know, it's just... I can't see myself not doing it.
Yeah. Well, we love it. And we love having you here. I literally was talking about you last night someone sent me a meme, and it was the kid in the Sandlot walking down the pool, like the redheaded kind of chubby kid, and he's like strutting down in front of all the girls, and it says the one dude in the 9 a.m. CrossFit class with all the soccer moms. And I was like, it was sent, and I was like, that's legit. Like there might be one or two guys at our 8:30 class and like a class of 15 or 17 women, and it was someone that's a member here, and he's like, yeah, Ben. Like there's literally been times it is Ben and 20 women at the 8:30 class, and I'm just like, oh, is this torture? Is this wonderful?
No,
like, because that's an interesting but cool group of ladies. But it is funny how that works out.
The hairstylist in me, man. I could, it's all good. Been there 1,000 times.
Yeah. I know you. It's appreciated though when some of the other 8:30 dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
This
is fart jokes and.
yeah. So that was you asked me this question last week, and I think what we just discussed about like health and quality of life and stuff kind of lends into that. Is where does Ben see himself at 60?
At 60, oh my God, 20 years from now. I want to be at a point to where I'm working with my kids. I'll say my kids plural, where they're working with me. I don't want to see them have to grind for someone else. I want them to do what they're passionate about and pay them well for that, or help them pay themselves to do that.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's hard to see 20 years ahead, because I'm always doing something different.
Yeah.
Always doing something different. And I like it that way.
Yeah.
I could be an Elvis impersonator. Who knows?
Oh my God. I could almost kind of see that.
I definitely won't be doing that. But in 20 years, I'm not going to say I hope I'm happy, because I know I'm going to be happy. If I'm living under a bridge, I'm going to be happy, So I just hope I'm working with my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be retired. I don't care about traveling. I just want to make sure they're good and set.
Yeah. No, that's a cool goal. We think of that ourselves we want our kids to forge their own path and do their own things, have their own successes and failures. But at the same time, if we can put together a situation where maybe there's an opportunity to be involved in something that we've helped lay the groundwork for, then great. If not, that's okay too. Again, we want them to be their own person, but we hope that we're at least providing something, like maybe, your son will say veers into something else that totally maybe you've never even dabbled in, but like maybe he's a musician, or maybe he does, graphic, like there's still something you feel like, I take that as like a compliment, like I've done something enough that like my kids, they want it to be a part of their lives. And even if it's not their main thing or their true passion in life, at least it resonated with them enough, which means I impacted them enough that they see the value in it and it brings them joy and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. That's the goal, man. I don't care about sitting on a beach in Hawaii and retired. That doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
Just coming here, wherever it's going to be, sweating and just doing the same thing I'm doing now, man. I love my life. I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about a 10-room house, like I'm just happy, man. And
which is good. That's hard to get, and that sense of, I won't say calm. Like when I hear you say that, I feel like a sense of calm, and it feels genuine.
Yeah, there's that Stoic phrase or quote. It's the more you want, the less you have, right?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of where I've been the past since I sold the business, and kind of coming to terms with just like just going through life. I may not make as much as I used to, this or that, but it's fine, man, because I'm happy and I'm doing what I want to do. And yeah,
you're not taking it with you.
Exactly.
So you might as well enjoy the ride, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool, Ben.
Cool.
I think this was great. I appreciate you getting outside your comfort zone and getting in front of the camera and doing talking.
Yes, sir.
I still put myself in there enough. So, but
yeah, thanks, man.
Cool.
Until next time.
Yes, sir.
All right.